Now, the extent of rolling blackouts has increased in part because Eskom has begun maintenance of long neglected plants. Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa explained this while giving an update on the state of electricity supply earlier. According to him, Stage 6 power outages are the result of both planned maintenance and unanticipated capacity loss. The generating units that tripped unexpectedly will, according to Ramokgopa, be back in service by the end of the week. To discuss this situation further, I'm joined now by the Executive Director of the South African Energy Forum, Hlathi Zak Madela. Mr. Madela, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for talking to us. I guess many people might say it's not a surprise that we find ourselves here because for as long as I can remember, Eskom's maintenance problems have been a big headache.
Good afternoon to you, Dan, and good afternoon to the listeners. Yes, Eskom has maintained its plant in the past, even when we were young. The fundamental question that we need to ask ourselves is, are we all going to hide behind the maintenance as if maintenance is something that is unsolvable? The deployment of the people who want to cover up for the government, we're going to continue talking like this forever. The question that we really need to ask ourselves, why is it so difficult to deal decisively with the maintenance issues? And why is Eskom reporting a high number of unplanned capacity loss factors of 16,500 megawatts, when it should actually be 5,000 megawatts? So let's push Eskom and the government to account. Why is it so difficult for them to sort out the maintenance?
Yeah, because when I heard this report of the minister mentioning this, I thought, but we've had this before. But recently he was giving us an impression that there was progress, even to the point of saying blackouts could be ended by December.
Well, he was right, and he will always be right if he's willing to challenge his political principles. We have an elephant in the room here. Even when he talks in context of he's managed to contain the situation, that unplanned capacity loss factor is just below 15,000. And the minute it goes above that, we have all these problems because the other units may not hold up. At the heart of this is that what can be done to reduce that number drastically from 16,000 to 5,000. So he was having a positive outlook, but they have their own meetings with the government officials and they don't want to tell this country the real reason why we are here. We know the real reason why we are having load shedding. I can share them with you if you want me to.
You please do so. I was going to ask you what, according to you, is the real reason, and if you may, just very succinctly summarize it for us.
Yeah, the real reason why we have load shedding in South Africa is that you have had a lot of problems creeping up at Eskom. And there was an element of saying, okay, this is a dead horse, it must go. Unfortunately, without Eskom coal power stations, we can't do. Now it requires a lot of money, quite a lot of money. And at the heart of this is there is no money for Eskom to address those problems. Let me give you an example. If, for instance, you have a compressor that is consistently giving problems, or you have one line of a back filter plant that is giving problems, there are people who are selling brand new back filter plants. Go and buy them. But Eskom is not in that situation to go buy those. So it's really people hiding behind all these technical terms. The problem is money. They're giving money to the independent power producers. They sign these contracts. Some government relatives and government officials and friends of government and corporate partners of government, they are the shareholders of these independent power producers, and the money goes there and Eskom remains with no money. That is why we're here.
Yeah, and you hear all kinds of stories. But then what are the prospects of stable supply? I mean, should we anticipate things to change from what you know as the Energy Forum?
I would say if there's any prospect for us to contain the situation as a country, including myself in this, is us being capacitated, not just South African Energy Forum, but all those of us who say this is not a technical problem, it's a political correctness problem, where crime was committed to overcommit themselves to these IPPs. So we're asking you, South Africans, can you travel with us to the Minister of Electricity and say he must pinpoint us exactly where the problem is? Because you will find that it's not a technical problem, it's exactly him not being capacitated to execute technical decisions. Because if you want to execute those technical decisions, you accept that Eskom is in competition with the independent power producers. It cannot then be Eskom that takes the money from you and me when we pay for electricity to give it to the competition. What kind of a business is that? So the minister must take us into confidence that he's willing to be a minister of South Africans, not the minister of a government which is scared to be exposed. It's time for the government to be exposed, unfortunately, for all of you people. The government must be exposed that it can't take a decision on these things.
Thank you very much for your time and insights this afternoon. Hlathi Zak Madela, Executive Director of the South African Energy Forum, just giving us some of the reasons why Eskom finds itself where it is. We've got Stage 6 blackouts back with us from today.